Yeah, okay, yeah. Want to make sure I have a good position here with the lighting that I have at this time. It's like 8:02, 8:03 p.m. somewhere in there, real close to it. Anyway, yeah, I was thinking about a song by Sammy Hagar, um, and one of the phrases in the lyrics is it's 8:05, it's time to rock. There's only one way to rock, and the thing with this is that something about Abraham Lincoln and him being the only president studying at night, representing my thoughts on directing, uh, getting to the Lincoln Continental and the rectangle and the accuracy that way. And in any case, it seems to be getting to the point of what that is to, the horizontal deal about the um, certain buildings identified in a horizontal rectangle that way. And a 1992 map. But in any case, yeah, I don't want to deviate from my direction and intent with content right here. But anyway, so I'm going to get to the point about the part of 805 being right at 247 degrees, and my thing about the computation and various factors that way of geographics as well as global positioning systems and VSAT and other factors, and a round clock at 8:05 would be like real immediately close. How exact? In any case, 247 degrees. Um, yeah, so I thought about that like a Robert E. Rubin quarter, and certain factors, and ultimately getting to what that is to a 90-degree right angle. That way of the coordinates and the claw. And the thing about it is that it gets to my thought of the alphanumerics of this area, and the pi r square factor, like getting to the square being asymmetrical, symmetrical of like the pi r squared in that way, and getting the two circles of like what would represent vertically like the figure eight as well as horizontal like the perfect 10-10 vision. And my thought about some television of Barbara Walters and television series with Barbara Walters, The View. And something about 1965, because as a matter of fact, I'm realizing something. It's kind of like almost hard to believe, but like at this location, before I even knew it, or even while I was here for, really, really a long time, years and years and years. Something about this actual home being built and like actually tore down, and I didn't even know it. And my parents moved back here, and I've been here, right? And anyway, I was like in the window here about probably about 8 to 10 months ago, somewhere in there, and it's like a pastel blue bowls, like like who put there in any case. But yeah, it seemed to be something in my mind of like 1965, and I was like in diapers. Okay, it's like just barely able to stand, and like the view. I mean, it's like all of a sudden it's like I remember like in 19, I believe it's 1965, that would present the thing of the alphanumerics of 84, and Austin or Embassy or what that is to the Blue Bonnet and Imperial Eagle that way, and ultimately getting to the thing about the computer programming and computer language of like HTTP :/, and considerable amount that ultimately in my mind getting to even the circuit above business and corporate law, getting to the factor of what seemed to be the deal about a whole lot of telepathic like stuff about even knowing kind of thing. But yeah, so I mean ultimately it gets to it's somewhere in my mind of what perfect vision is, of clarity that even represents the zoom in astrology, the zoom lens, and astrology with perfect 10-10 vision. In any case, there was something about the information that had led me, and something about the current resident in my mailbox to a way of that had presented the awareness, and throughout the years, I mean, it seemed to be a picture that seemed to be really it was already there like year after year, not really every year, but it seemed to be like a when I noticed it, okay, and it's a picture that I looked at several times for like years now. For even more so, it seems the significance is like there in a way that really I wouldn't have even thought possible. In any case, I was thinking about that because, as a matter of fact, I was looking at it because going through a circuit in certain places that seem to involve the buildings and the wide area sport deal about the rectangle of ultimately getting to the Abraham Lincoln thing about the Lincoln Continental, okay, and the vertical rectangle, like the figure 8 would be vertical, representing that, and the like 247 degree at 8:05, whether it be AM or PM, ultimately seems to be like the whole entire point that gets to the pi r squared of exponential quotients, as well as the deal about the 97 Rock radio station and the Sammy Hagar song, that has the phrase and lyrics of it's 8:05, it's time to rock. And the thing it is that the rectangle being horizontal with like most high-rise buildings in that way, seemingly be the thing about the generator and what that is in a way of the word yes, the band, as well as other factors that would be involved that way. Yeah, so I might get into that later. I might take a break. The thing with this is that one of the pictures that seemed to be like the deal about a coupon and like LASIK vision, laser corrective eye surgery, had been something very much that really I looked at for several times, and really the significance was just like there year. I think it seemed like it was like every 5, maybe 6, 7 years. I'm really not sure, but here this last time it's kind of like a something about it was just like there in my mind about what a current resident might mean to the hospital, or what current would even mean to currency, and like over categorization of money in the way of even what might represent the thought of what rectification is to electrical, in a way of like dissipating an overabundant amount as compared to what in my mind and DC of electronic power representing what a capacitor. And how true if the categorization, it seems to be the eccentric type of scale based upon practical application between electrical and electronic. Like in my mind, something about a capacitor, with its designated capacity as a set standard in a circuit, would represent an overflow of the positive, as compared to rectification controlling the overabundant amount and of dissipation of grounding. And something about that, and the degree graduate alumni, and I'm trying to actually place it because I think there's something about the generator and the size of it, and predominantly with a minimum of a high rise, and the conversion mathematics. But there's something about this, and yeah, I thought I'd do this because it seemed to be the significance right here, and yeah, and in my mind that is very much that, and something that I've been thinking about quite a bit about several things, and I've been like studying alphanumerics and linguistics and what that is specifically, because it seemed to be like something that seemed to be 1965 and a memory of the view, because Barbara Walters had that show The View, okay, and the view seemed to be all of a sudden like the memory of like an infant in a diaper, and that would be 1965. And the deal about the pastel blue bowl seems to be almost color coded in a way of perfect 10-10 vision that way. The thing with this is that the figure 8 being vertical that way, as compared to the 9-degree right angle being horizontal like it is on a zoom lens, that way, what it is in that way. And the thing of it is that I was looking at it that way because of many factors. It seemed to be the coupon and the syllable thing, and there seems to be several factors involving syllables that ultimately somewhere in the King James Version Bible, it seems to be the Abraham and Sarah and Joseph thing about it, and the tent about the desert. I believe there's something in there about the tent. Yeah. Anyway, like and the Book of Mormon, the Church of Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints, and like the alignment and parallel universe type of situation, or why a patent is not a copyright, or litigation is not necessarily de facto. With my perception of like corporate terminology, I mean litigation is like an automatic, corporate law, and most people's perception of litigation would almost be the perception of settlement, not necessarily annuity. But that's the deal about networking and the degree level of only what I see, very much so of like only opportunity, and it seems to be the deal about the non-negotiable, non-transferable itemization. But the thing with this is that my memory seems to be focusing on the view, and the significance of it now seems to be, that this home, and I can't get a word really out of anyone, but I mean obviously it really is that this home that I'm in like right now was like here in like 1965, then I went with my parents in the Houston area, and it's like it was like 1978, like we like actually moved in right back here and actually built it, and I was like part of it, and anything it's kind of like throughout. I mean, the entire time, like here at this address. I mean, it was just like here recently, and I think it's been about the last six to 10 months, maybe a little bit longer. I think it might have been a little bit after. I'm actually going to have to actually place. There was like some time I actually spent in the hospital. Um, yeah. So anyway, I'll have to think about it. But yeah, if it's like anything other than like mentioning it now and it needs to be clarified, well then it will be. But anyway, yeah. So I thought I felt kind of something about that in a way that seems to be significant, a little bit more than really normal in that way. And what it is is because I'm kind of thinking, if that really is something that I'm thinking about, like was like that picture of her here in like 1965, or what the real deal is with like my perception of like perfect 1010 vision, and what that is to the view, and like Barbara Walters on 2020 with like Hugh Downs and like experience of in the circuit in a way that seems to be like ultimately getting to like the aggregates of expenditures, including monetary, domestic, and gross national product, as well as the complete free thing about like annuity, or what that is in corporate law that would give the perception of what annuity is in corporate terms. Not necessarily that litigation even has to be, um, you know, de facto in a way of settlement. And the thing about something about the get smart, get Maxwell smart thing, and what that is really, like, hey, I've been to a summit meeting, okay, yeah, and what that is to a peak and a crest in a way, like um, a little bit more of the mountain than the get smart, get Maxwell smart thing, of a color code, ultimately getting to color codes of like yeah, the thing about that what a picture is, and color code in white as compared to like what domiciled head of household would mean to some of that thing about it. Yeah, so in any case, yeah, so it seems to me ultimately the deal about the uh, blue bonnet imperial eagle, and whether or not if that's like an obligation, duty, or oath, or whatever the case may be. The thing about it is led that the thing about 1965 is like 84, okay, and like Austin, okay, and there's certain factors of not only the movie Austin Powers, but also like even a Robert Plant song. I've got my flower, I have my power, I have a woman who knows. Well, anyway, it's like all this stuff, like the name and the place, and a combination of things. It seemed to be that um, the significance of the name Robert in the way of like everything I've been speaking about on YouTube. But anyway, yeah. So in any case, so like Austin Powers and Blue Bonnet Imperial Eagle seem to ultimately get to the HTTP:// and what that suggests involving like a computer architecture, computer platform, and embedding encryption, and what the equator is to all that. And I've been focusing quite a bit on that, but the significance and why I had mentioned the picture of LASIK's corrective laser corrective eye surgery is that obviously I mean it's like in the mailbox, okay. It's something really I've been looking at throughout the years, but what I'm even talking about, I mean, was not even a thought like that in any kind of way. And when I started thinking about current resident, what it is to a mailbox, um, and current resident be terminology at the bank and finance and international financial management, and the act, the degree level of suggesting, and how true it is that it stays that way, considering the international law of having fair use of access easement, but currency normally identifies normally would give the impression. How true it is obviously proven to be not really a question of like what choice means in that way. But the thing with this is that the currency over the categorization of money. I mean, if that's all it means is categorization with the word money. I mean, the word money itself is obviously the categorization. Most people would automatically assume that it would be thought of as almost guaranteed geographically attached, not necessarily that the degree of currency or circuit that way would even have any kind of obligation or limitation to actually geographically even limit it, itself in that way in capacity of a degree, not necessarily a non-degree thing, that would really present the issue of like being geographically attached, like the assumption of like identifying, the category of money in that way as like an automatic geographic assumption, not a question of like, available in closed caption for the hearing impaired or the national deficit thing. In any case, so I was thinking about it, I was kind of like looking at, be almost a perception that I thought of Barbara Walters on The View. And it's just like here recently when I saw that Pastel, and I've been really into alphanumerics and linguistics for years. Okay, the thing about the Pastel being 73 in Union and in Harris and quite a bit, in the Houston area and electronic power and we international. And the thing about it is that I was kind of looking at it that way because the syllable about the coupon that way, and I was like thinking about the figure eight ice skating in the way of what that is to something about the ice and what that is to importing and exporting that way, or what the thought might be in the way of like not presenting boundaries and limitations in the way of that kind of description of participation, that it would be categorized as a um, obligation, maybe even the source of freedom in that way of participation. In any case, I mean, there's description, but the thing of it is that within description in my mind, with consideration of like a lot of things, there seems to be the significance of memory minus de facto being the 35 of alphanumerics, like Interstate 35 being, like Austin being the capital of the state of Texas, as well as the thought of NASA and Dodge and certain of the factors of 35, and obviously the pronunciation and anatomy part of about the I being EYE and 35 that way. And and it seemed to be so color coded about like her picture right there, and it's like something about what I'm thinking about at the sky and what that is to like the alphanumerics of M is N being like 55 in the way of the sky, and the color code of the sky normally on it like a perfect clear day is like the blue thing. And what that is in that way of I'm actually deciding if it's going to be an option, or if it's going to be like something about the separation between church and state. What would be, the M is N, 13 is 14, 14 is 13, and N is M, and what that is to 55 and heaven and sky. And right now it's kind of like I'm thinking about something about that. And I thought I'd say that really right now because I thought that was like a significance that had, gained a little bit more significance. And really, I mean, really seemed to be something that seemed to be like at the age of 15. The first time the picture, I'm actually trying to clarify if my memory actually serves me correctly in that way. And I've seen it seem to be like for years, and it's like an automatic Faces International. How true that is, other than what I'm looking at as far as like a LASIK, um, um, LASIK laser corrective eye surgery. In a way, is what I'm thinking about is that as far as like anatomy in the eyes itself, like the peripheral tolerance of panoramic academia would be like the 180 degree or telepathic answer in that way, and the significance of just like the picture is like something that really I actually have taken a little bit more significance and in that way. I've thought about it because ultimately getting to even the summit meetings and something about the Houston area that way, and how that is like the American amplified living Bible likewise with a considerable amount of other additional information. And right now, that's what I have to say about it. And I thought I would just include that. It seems to be something that I'm thinking about anyway. And yeah, so it's like going on like 18 minutes and like 39 seconds right now. And I think I'm going to take a break, and maybe if I feel the need or want to say anything more about it. But I thought I'd just go ahead and include that because yeah, I consider about something. But yeah, anyway, so there it is. Okay, there it is. Yeah.